let's dive straight into the day's headlines. A city on lockdown, scrambling to contain a coronavirus outbreak. China suspends all outbound air and train travel from Wuhan, widening its edict that nobody leave and nobody enter a city that has more residents than New York City. On cloud nine, South Korea's under-23 men's football team qualify for the Tokyo Olympics with a win over Australia. They have now qualified for a record 9 consecutive Olympics. Plus, it's day 2 of the Senate impeachment trial of President Trump. Democratic House managers present their case as Trump lambasts it as a hoax and bad for the country. Our top story this morning, it's often said that urgent times call for urgent measures, and the Chinese government isn't taking any chances. No one is to be allowed to leave Wuhan, the city in China at the very heart of the coronavirus outbreak, in a bid at least to try and prevent the disease from spreading even more. Since the virus emerged last month, 17 people are now confirmed to have died and hundreds have been sickened. Kim Hyo-sun starts us off.
Amid the continued rapid spread of the new pneumonia virus, which first emerged in Wuhan at the end of December, Chinese authorities are closing off the city of Wuhan, home to over 11 million people. According to China's state-run CCTV, the decision came as the death toll from the virus almost doubled in a day to 17 as of late Wednesday. All fatalities so far have been in Hubei, the province around Wuhan. All planes and trains leaving the city will be cancelled beginning Thursday, while public transportation within the city, including buses, subways, and ferries, will also be suspended. Authorities are especially on alert as Lunar New Year, which involves the country's largest annual migration of people, is just around the corner.
Because the Spring Festival is coming and there is a floating population of more than 5 million in Wuhan going out of the city. And many people outside the city also want to come back to Wuhan for family reunion, which is a big flow. What's more, there will be mass return trips after the Spring Festival. If not well controlled, there will be a peak outbreak.
The World Health Organization said after the emergency meeting on Wednesday that it has postponed a decision on whether the current outbreak constitutes a state of international health emergency. It explained that it will convene another emergency meeting on Thursday to fully review the status quo. However, Chinese authorities admit the country is now at the, quote, most critical stage of prevention and control, as the virus has been identified in 20 regions, including Beijing, Shanghai, and the southern province of Guangdong. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
Now, concerns rising that the coronavirus is fast developing in what could be an international public health emergency. Experts are working round the clock to try and pinpoint the actual source of the outbreak. Many believe it came from wild animals that were slaughtered on site and sold illegally at a fish market in the Chinese city. Lee Kyung-eun reports.
The new strain of coronavirus was first found in people who visited or worked at a fish market in the city of Wuhan. While it is still unclear exactly how it started or was transmitted, foreign media, including Bloomberg and CNN, are pointing to live animals that were sold at the fish market. They cite experts who blame the so-called wet markets, where live animals like chicken are slaughtered on site and sold without being properly packaged. There is also the illegal sale of wild animals like rodents, bats, and raccoons that are served as local delicacies. According to Jeremy Farrar, one of the specialists in infectious disease, Wuhan coronavirus may have been lurking in those animals for decades. And over time, it might have become stronger, adapting to infect humans. He says those who touch infected animals can be exposed to viruses. This is in line with the pattern of another case of coronavirus, SARS, with its 2002 outbreak reportedly coming from a raccoon-like animal from China's Guangdong province. That outbreak led to a ban on the sale of exotic animals, only for them to reappear in black markets. Many experts also say that the upcoming Lunar New Year holiday is a critical moment in the outbreak's development, as millions of Chinese are set to travel overseas during the time. Countries are also enhancing screening at airports to try to contain the virus. But it is important that people take preventive measures individually, as it is confirmed that the virus can be transmitted through human contact.
The Disease Control and Prevention Center recommends washing your hands frequently, covering your mouth when coughing, and wearing a mask. Also, for those traveling to Wuhan, avoid contacting those with symptoms and touching animals.
The symptoms of the virus include a fever up to 41 degrees Celsius, severe pain in throat, and vomiting. For people in South Korea, if you have symptoms like these, within 14 days of returning from overseas travel, call 1399 to get medical advice. 이경은, Arirang News.
Now, South Korea's under-23 men's football team have punched their ticket to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. They booked their 9th straight Olympic spot after beating Australia 2-0 on Wednesday night at the AFC Under-23 Championship taking place in Thailand. Seung-jae reports.
With the winner earning one of 3 available spots at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, the South Korean U-23 men's football team took to the pitch at the Thammasat Stadium against Australia on Wednesday night in the semi-finals of the AFC U-23 Championship. The Taeguk Warriors booked their place in the Olympics with a 2-0 win thanks to second-half goals from midfielders Kim Dae-won and Lee Dong-kyung. Having secured at least a runner-up finish, South Korea has its 9th straight ticket to the Olympics, a feat no other team has achieved. Including the 1948 London Olympics and the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, it gives South Korea a total of 11 Olympic appearances. On the same night, Saudi Arabia qualified for the Olympics for the first time in 24 years after defeating Uzbekistan in the other semifinal. South Korea and Saudi Arabia will face off in Sunday's final, with the Taeguk Warriors looking to win their first ever AFC U-23 championship. With the Tokyo Olympics just 6 months away, South Korea will attempt to keep their winning streak going. They have won every match so far during the Olympic qualifying tournament. Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Now, staying with football news, Tottenham Hotspur South Korean forward Son Heung-min found the back of the net for the first time in several weeks on Wednesday, scoring a late winner against Norwich City in the English Premier League. Son's header came in the 79th minute off a deflected cross. The goal gave Spurs a 2-1 win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Son has not scored since his wonder strike against Burnley back on December 7th of last year. He now has 11 goals for Tottenham this season. Son's goal also helped Spurs snap a 4-game winning drought and moves the London club up to 6th in the EPL table. Now to a case that has spurred a lot of controversy and triggered much heated debate here in South Korea. The South Korean army has discharged a transgender soldier, citing medical reasons. On Wednesday, the soldier in question spoke out publicly for the first time about the military's decision. Kim Ji-yeon reports.
The South Korean soldier who underwent gender reassignment surgery in Thailand last year while on leave spoke publicly Wednesday for the first time about the military's decision to discharge her. Staff Sergeant Pyun Hee-soo, who was trained as a tank pilot after joining the military in 2017, said she thought being part of the military, considered one of the most conservative groups in South Korea, would help her deal with and overcome her gender dysphoria, a condition she says she's been struggling with since she was young.
저는 어린 시절부터 이 나라와 국민을 수호하는 군인이 되고 싶은 것이 꿈이었습니다. 힘들고 고된 훈련 과정을 거친 뒤 그 오랜 꿈을 드디어 이루어냈다는 것에 제 자신이 너무 뿌듯했고 또 행복하였습니다.
Her dreams were short-lived, however. The Army said in a statement that it discharged her for what it called medical reasons without specifying the details. It referred to injuries that made her unfit to carry out her duties. This follows last week's findings by a military medical team which declared her handicapped. The Army statement also said that a military committee reviewed Pyun's case considering military law and the arguments against her dismissal, and that it will continue trying to protect the human rights of service personnel and to prevent any undue discrimination. The Center for Military Human Rights Korea, an advocacy group, said the decision to discharge her is unjust, and it plans to support Pyon's legal efforts to reinstate her based on her desire to continue her service as a woman. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
Now, US President Donald Trump has granted tariff waivers to Apple in its competition against its largest rival, South Korea's Samsung Electronics. Speaking with CNBC at the World Economic Forum in Davos on Wednesday, President Trump explained he has helped Apple a lot and it has made a big difference, while the Trump administration stated in December that it will levy 15% tariffs on goods manufactured in China. Apple was not subject to those tariffs on its flagship products made at its China-based facilities. Now, wrapping up his brief stay at the Davos Forum in Switzerland, US President Donald Trump has lashed out at the Democrats as they continue his impeachment trial in the Senate. For more on this and other news from around the world, let's turn to our Heung-min. Heung-min, President Trump has not been mincing his words about this situation.
Well, that's right, Mark. While the impeachment trial continues for a second day in the Senate, President Trump has once again called the Democrats' impeachment move a, quote, hoax and bad for the United States. Take a look at what he had to say at a press conference in Davos.
It's a total hoax. It's a disgrace. They talked about their tremendous case, and it's all done, their tremendous case. They had no case. It's all a hoax. The Senate's going to have to answer that. I have great respect for the Senate.
As we touched upon, it's now day 2 of the Senate trial. Democratic House managers are presenting their case against President Trump in the Senate after a 13-hour-long debate on Tuesday. The Senate has rejected Democrat amendments to subpoena records from 4 key government departments related to the Ukrainian scandal, namely the White House, the State Department, the Defense Department, and the Office of Management and Budget. They also turned down by a party-line vote to subpoena key officials from the Trump administration, including acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney and former National Security Advisor John Bolton. In his opening argument, leading House Manager Adam Schiff called for President Trump's removal from the office, insisting there is overwhelming evidence to show he abused his power and obstructed Congress. President Trump said his legal team say the impeachment has no ground and is a purely partisan move by the Democrats. France and the U.S. have agreed to call a truce in their tax dispute, with both sides deciding to hold off on digital taxation and retaliatory tariffs. French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire said on Wednesday that he agreed with U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin in Davos that France will not impose digital tax on American IT companies this year. In response, Mnuchin agreed to suspend plans to impose retaliatory tariffs on French goods. However, the French minister added that they failed to agree on how they're going to rewrite decades-old cross-border tax rules. Greece will soon have its first ever female president after the top administrative court chief was elected the new head of the state following a parliamentary vote. On Wednesday, a cross-party majority of Greek lawmakers endorsed Katerina Sakellaropoulou to become president. The 63-year-old is a well-known judge in Greece with a progressive attitude on the issues of discrimination and climate change. She will take office in March.
Now, there's no denying the increased amount of artificial intelligence used in our day-to-day gadgets is becoming more and more pronounced by the day, it seems. And this is sparking debate on whether the technology will benefit or threaten humanity. Our Oh Se-young spoke to some experts for their thoughts on the matter.
Here's a robot arm that predicts what you want and fetches it for you. Using a sensor to track your gaze, the arm moves towards a box of candies that it thinks you want before you select it. This is one way that Professor Heung-min is developing intelligent robots to empower human lives.
My dream is to have a robot like this help someone have a social meal. So in a social meal, we're eating, but we're also talking. There's a lot of conversational dynamics and social dynamics. I would love to be able to get this robot intelligent enough that it could help people spear or scoop or twirl food into their mouth when they wanted it and not interrupt them when they were in the middle of having a conversation.
With the proliferation of artificial intelligence mimicking and emulating humans' ability to think, perceive, and make decisions, the notion of human-centric AI has become a goal for scientists and the mantra of tech companies like Samsung. The pictures shown here were created by artificial intelligence without specific direction from human beings. It was also created without replicating existing work or scanning real-life images. It's really a depiction of how autonomous systems are growing in intelligence and sensibility. A large part of that means training AI to understand human behavior, anticipate our needs, and act autonomously and even creatively. For instance, suggesting relaxing activities and bringing over a cup of tea if it senses we're stressed, or taking over the wheel in a self-driving car. But the crucial skill of learning to read between the lines and understand non-verbal cues in different contexts is very difficult for machines to emulate. Through computer vision, sensors and algorithms, scientists are aiming to optimize this skill and increase collaboration between robots and humans.
If you are in manufacturing, it may be impossible to build a single robot that does all the tasks that a human can do. But in coordination with a human being, the productivity might be significantly higher. Caring for the elderly is for sure an important application, and building soft robots that even carry us or feed us and help us locomote. These are very important robots that we will surely be living with in the not too distant future.
The world is increasingly running on codes, from smart speakers to robots that bring us toilet paper. And that technology needs to be programmed to work with us and fit seamlessly into our lives. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News, Pittsburgh.
Now, local IT giant Kakao is a step closer to providing security services to 30 million users of its subsidiary mobile payment service, KakaoPay. On Wednesday, the Securities and Futures Commission, under the Financial Services Commission, said it found no problem with KakaoPay's application to become a major shareholder of local brokerage firm Baro Investment and Securities. The Commission will approve KakaoPay's application during a meeting set for February 5th. KakaoPay plans to provide brokerage and asset management services to its users. Now, for those of you out there planning to visit South Korea in the coming weeks, here's something that will make your trip even more memorable. South Korea's annual winter sale for foreign tourists is underway. And the good news is that it will run all the way through until the last week of February. Choi Jung-yoon has the details.
Korea's biggest shopping spree for international visitors is happening across the country. The Korea Grand Sale 2020 offers discounts on all kinds of things, from transportation and accommodation to museums and duty-free shops. Now in its 10th year, more than 1,000 companies and 20,000 retailers are taking part.
The government hopes to promote Korean culture and experiences using the medium of shopping. Consisting of K-content like K-pop and K-beauty, the aim is to help bring Korea more than 20 million visitors this year.
In a bid to lure tourists in the off-season, the program has been expanding into different areas. This year, 8 local airlines are giving discounts of up to 95% on some 100 Korea-bound flights, along with discounts on train tickets and bus services connecting Seoul to other provinces. Last year, the event made more than $1 billion in sales, a 39% increase from the year before. A recent survey also shows tourist satisfaction with shopping in Korea has increased from 75% to 91% since the start of the Korea Grand Sale in 2011.
I mean, the products are very high quality here. We would like to come again for shopping here, regarding cosmetics and textile as well.
But next time, we will try to arrange this at the time when the discounts are and the sales are in force, so that it would be much efficient for us to visit Korea again.
Welcome centers are also set up in the main tourist hotspots. At this center in Seoul's Dongdaemun district, visitors can get information on tours and discount promotions. Guides are available in English and Chinese, and there's a digital kiosk that provides useful tips. Also, there's a chance to win prizes by spinning the wheel or trying to stop the clock at exactly 20.20 seconds. A mobile tourist service center, or TSC, roves around the city of Seoul, providing more information along with free Wi-Fi and phone charging. At the TSC, foreign visitors can also take part in a wide range of fun events and experience Korea's cultural heritage in virtual reality. 최정윤, Arirang News.
Now, people in South Korea are gearing up for a 4-day weekend. I know I am, as the country readies to celebrate the Lunar New Year holiday, known as Seollal here in Korea. From Friday until next Monday, most of the country will have some time to see family, carry out ancestral rituals and eat some good and hopefully healthy food. Kan Young-woo tells us more about the significance of this special holiday.
Seollal is one of the two biggest national holidays in South Korea. People gather with their families to celebrate their Lunar New Year. Seollal falls on the first day of the lunar calendar, which is based on the moon's monthly cycles. The holidays usually last 3 days, the day before the actual Lunar New Year's Day, the day itself, and the day after. But as this year's Seollal falls on January 25th, which is Saturday, the next Monday is an alternative holiday. History books have a record of Koreans celebrating Lunar New Year as far back as the year 488 during the Silla Kingdom era. Traces of Seollal traditions can also be found during the Joseon dynasty. For Seollal, many Koreans return to their hometowns to visit their parents and other family members. So traffic jams are a commonly reoccurring theme during this time of the year, with millions traveling across the country. On the day of Seollal, Koreans usually carry out ancestral rituals called chare, where they pay respect to their ancestors by placing traditional food in front of pictures or names of the deceased. After that, there is sebe, where children wish their elders a happy new year by performing the deep traditional bow. In return, their elders give short words of wisdom and some pocket money to the young. Families then eat tteokguk, the traditional Korean soup made with a thin beef broth and slices of chewy rice cakes. Eating tteokguk on Seollal is considered as adding 1 year to your age, so you become a year older on the Korean Lunar New Year. Kan Young-woo, Arirang News.
Good morning. It's going to feel more like mid-March instead of mid-January here in Seoul. A chilly morning will turn mild with an expected high of 10 degrees Celsius here in the capital this afternoon. So let's take a closer look. Actually, daily highs will range between 10 and 13 degrees Celsius in most parts of the country, and the skies should get brighter as the day goes on. Meanwhile, the Chungcheongdo provinces and Daegu could see bad air today, but it should be okay for the rest of us. The mild trend continues into the Lunar New Year holiday with no bone-chilling morning temperatures, but there will be rain across the country at certain times. So we won't have to bundle up that much, but let's do wear a face mask in crowded areas and public places. Besides, we do expect dusty conditions during holiday. And due to the shorter Seollal holiday this year, roads will be more congested, so drive carefully. And remember, there will be toll-free passage for all vehicles from Friday into Sunday. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for views around the world.
Well, that's all the news and weather we have for now. Stay tuned to Arirang TV. Our next newscast is at noon Korea time. If you're watching us in South Korea, we do hope you have a wonderful, healthy and happy Lunar New Year holiday. Until next time, goodbye.